Safety assessment toxicology. Safety assessment involves evaluation of new chemical entries in laboratory research animal module to support the filling of investigation, new drugs, and new drug application. The toxicology teams analyzes the potential toxicology of the drugs to enable a fast and effective drug development. Stability studies. Stability studies are conducted to support the formulation, development, safety, and efficiency of a new drug. It is also done to ascertain the quality of the shell life of the drug in the intended packing configuration. Bioequivalence and bioavailability studies. Bioequivalence is a term such as pharmacokinetics used to assess the expected to vivo biological equivalent to proprietary preparation of the drug. If two products are used to be bioequivalent, it means that they would be expected to be in all infant and purpose of the same. The bioavailability of the measurement of the rate and extent to which the therapeutic activity chemicals absorbed from the drug product into system circulation becomes available to site of action. Clinical trials or drugs that are developed for the human consumption would be undergone human testing for confirm that utility and safety before being registered for marketing. Is a clinical trial helps to a collection of information related to drugs in human body such as absorption, distribution, metabolism, excretion, and interactions allows choice of the safe dose. Bioanalytical studies. Bioanalysis is a subdiscipline is analytical chemistry covered in quantity measure of the drugs and their metabolism. Biological molecules are unnatural location or concentration of macro molecules DNA and large and molecule drugs and metabolism and biological systems. B2B macro systems to aircraft and aircraft engines components and describe the services of aircraft. Supply and place of supply of maintenance or repairs overhaul services therefore refer to MRO service in respect of aircraft engines and other aircraft components or costs of parts supplied to person for use of course of furtherance of business location of the recipient of the service. B2B MRO services of ships and other vessels that engines and other components. Description of the service or circumstances place of the supply. The supply of MRO services in the related to respect of ships and other vessels, their engines and other components are part of supply to a person for use of course of furtherance of business. Place of supply. The place of supply service shall be a location of the recipient of services. Classification of place of supply. The place of supply is in respect of various cargo handling services provided by the port to client. The port authorities provide various services to its client in relation to cargo handling. Some of the services are respect of arrival of wagon to a port and haulage of wagons inside the port area up to the place of unloading side of wagon inside the port, unloading the wagon, movement of unloaded cargo to the plot and staking therefore, movement of unloading cargo to the breadth, shipment, loading on vessel, etc. It is classified that services are actually related to cargo handling services and not related to immovable property. According to the place of supply, that the service will be deemed to be as per the provision of the contained section 12 to section 13 to as per the case may be, depending upon the terms of the contract between supplier and the recipient of such services. Place of supply in the case of software design services related to electronic, semiconductor, and design manufacturers, ESDM industries. A number of companies that are part of growing electronic, semiconductor, and design manufacturing (ESDM) industries in India are engaged in process of developing software and designing integrated circuits electronically for customers located overseas. The consumer electronic provides Indian tech design development and design companies with the design requirement and intellectual property blocks IP blocks are reusable units of software logic and design layouts that can be combined to form new designs. Based on these, Indian company digitally integrates the various IP blocks to develop a software, the silicon or hardware design. These designs are communicated abroad and in the industry standard electronic format, either to the customer or the behest of the customer. The manufacturing facilities or the manufacture of hardware based on such design. In addition, the software development is also integrated upon the customized to this hardware. One of these occasions, sample of these prototypes hardwares are then provided back to the Indian development and design companies to test the validity of the software and design that they have developed and ensure they're error free. The questions arises where circulation of hardware prototypes and samples are testing their own lands there services and characteristics of the perform based services. The goods required to be made physically available for the recipient of the provider. It is observed that the contractors where a service provider is involved in composite supply of software serve development and design of integrated circuits as electronic testing of the software or sample prototype hardware, often ancillary supply, whereas a chip design software design is a principal supply of a service provider. The service provider is not involved in software testing alone as a separate service. Testing of software design in designing of software is aimed to improve the quality of the software and quality of the improvement design. And it's an ancillary serve activity. The entire activity needed to be viewed as one supply and accordingly treated for the purpose of taxation. Artificial vivisection of the contract of the composite supply is not provided in law. These cases, as fact based on each case, should be examined for the nature of the supply contracted. Therefore, Circular Number 11837/2018 GST dated 1st 10/2029 clarified that the place of supply of software designed by supplier located in taxable territory to service tax recipient located in a non-taxable territory by using a sample prototype hardware test kit in the composite supply where such training or testing is an auxiliary supply is a location of the service recipient as per section 113.2. The provision section 13 is do not apply separately for the determination of supply place of supply for auxiliary place of supply in this case. Clarification of doubt relating to the scope of intermediary. Circular number 159/15/2012 GST dated 21 September 2021 has clarified the doubt relating the intermediary C definition services. The circulars clarify the concept of intermediary service required following basic prerequisites. Medium three parties. By definition, an intermediate is someone who arrange or facilitates the supplies of goods or services or securities between two or more persons. It is thus a natural corollary corollary that arrangement requires a minimum of three parties, two of them transactional supply of goods and service or transactional securities, main supply, and one arranging a facility of actual supply. The main supply, the activities between one or two parties can therefore not be considered as an intermediate service. The intermediate essentially arranges facility another supply the main supply between two or more of the person and does not himself provide the main supply. Two distinct supply distinct about there are two distinct supplies in case of provision of intermediate supply: main supply and ancillary supply. Main supply is between two principal. The main supply between two principal, which can be supply of goods or service or securities. Ancillary supply, which is a service of a facilitation or arrange of the main supply between two principal. The ancillary supply is a supply of intermediate service, and it is clearly identifiable and distinguished from the main supply. The person involved in supply of main supply or principal to principal basis to another person cannot be considered as a supply of intermediate person. Intermediate service provided to have characters of an agent, broker, or any other service. A definition of intermediary itself provided that the intermediary service provider means a broker or an agent or any other person by wherever name called. This part of definition is not inclusive but uses the expression of means. It does not expand the definition by any known expression or expansion such as include. The use of expression arrange facilities he suggests a subsidiary role of intermediate. It must arrange a facility, some other supply, which is the main supply and does not himself provides main supply. This is the role of intermediate is only supportive. Does not include a person who supplies such a goods and services, both securities or by as one account. Definition of intermediate service specifically mentioned that intermediate does not include person who supplies such goods or service or both or security on his own account. Use of the word such is a definition. This reference to supply of goods or service refer to the main supply of the goods or service or both securities between two or more persons, which is arranged facilitation by the intermediate. It implies that in the case wherein a person supplies the main supply either fully or partially to principal basis, then the supply cannot be covered under the scope of intermediary. Subcontracting for a service is not an intermediate service. The supplier of a main service may outsource the supply of a main service either fully or partially to more subcontractors. Such subcontract provides a main supply, either fully or then part thereof. It does not merely arrange a facility to main supply between principal supplier and its customer. Then therefore it's not an intermediately. A and B have entered into the contract as per which A need to provide a service of as a maintenance of tools and machinery to B, and A subcontracts a part of whole to C. And the partly C provides service of annual maintenance to A as part of subcontract by providing annual maintenance of tools and machinery to the customer A, that is B, that is to B on behalf of A. Um, Through C is with the customer A, but C is providing the main supply of annual maintenance service to A on his own account. It is a principal to principal basis. In this case, A providing supply of annual maintenance services to B, whereas C is supplying the same service to A. The supply of service by C will not be considered as an intermediary service. The specific provision of the place of supply of intermediate service section 13 shall be invoked only when either the location of supplier or the intermediate service or location of the recipient of intermediate service is outside India. Applying the above mentioned guidance principle, the issue by intermediate service is clarified through the following example. A is a manufacturer or supplier of machinery. C. C helps in sales helps A to selling the machinery by identifying client B who wants to purchase the machine, help to finalize the content of supply of machinery by A to B, and the C charges A for service of location B, helping the finalizing sale of machine between A and B. The C invoices A and paid by A and the same. While A and B are involved in the main supply of machinery, C is facilitating the supply of machine between A and B in the arrangement. C is providing ancillary supply of arranging and facilitating the main supply of machinery between A and B, and therefore C is intermediate and providing intermediate service to A. A Asian software company which develops software for the client as per the requirement. A has a contract of B for providing some customized software for the business corporations. A is outsourcing a task of designing, development a particular module of software to C, from which C may have to interact with B. To know the specific requirement in this case, C is providing main supply of service of design and development of software to A. The C is not an intermediate of this case. Insurance company B is located outside India, requires to process insurance claims in the Indian client's respect of the insurance services being provided by B on to its client. When processing the insurance complaints, B provides an outsource his work to some other firms. For the purpose B approaches Q located in India for arranging insurance claims processing service from other secure services provided in India. Q contracts an R who is a business of providing such insurance claim and processing services, and arranging the supply of insurance claim processing service to R to P, and PQ charges P a commission on service for 1% of the contract value of insurance claims processing service provided by R to P. In this case, a main supply of insurance claim processing service to P and R, while Q is merely in arranging and facilitating the supply of the service between P and Q, P and R, and not because himself providing the main supply of service. According to the case, Q is act as an intermediary as a design of section 213. A manufacturer, supplier, or competitor based on the USA supplies its goods all over the world. As part of its supply, A is required to provide customer care services to the customers to address their queries and complaints relating to the said supplies of computer. A decided to outsource the task of providing customer care services to BPO firms. B. The B provides customer care service to A by interacting with the customer of A and addressing the processing the queries, complaints, and B charges A for service. A is involved to supply of main service customer care service to A, and this is not an intermediary. In this example given below, above are indicating a non-exhaustive, whereas whether or not a specific service would fall under the intermediate service or within the meaning of section 2 clause 13 would be depends upon the fact of the specific case. While examining the fact of the case and terms of the contract, basic character of the intermediate service as discussed in the preceding para would be kept in the consideration. After understanding the concept of the place of supply and the meaning of the location of the player, you will now be in the position to better appreciate the meaning of the terms interstate supply and intrastate supply and supply in the course of territorial water. Therefore, the terms has been discussed in detail there. Interstate Supply, Section 7 of the IGST Act, Statutory Provision. Section 7, Interstate Supply, subsection particular. Subject to the provision of Section 10, supply of goods where the location of the supplier and the place of supplies on the two different states, two different union territories, a state or union territory can be treated as supply of goods in course of interstate trade and commerce. Supply of goods imported into the territory of India till they cross the customs frontier can be treated as a supply of goods in the course of interstate trade or commerce. Subject to the provision of Section 12, supply of service where the location of the supplier and the place of supplies are in two different states, two different union territories, or two different state and union territories shall be treated as supply of service in the course of interstate trade or commerce. A supply of service imported into territory of India shall be treated as a supply of service in the course of interstate trade or commerce. The supply of goods and services are both when the supply is located in India and the place of supply is outside India, and supply of service, the service both shall be treated as supply of goods and service in both in course and interstate trade commerce. To be a special economic zone developer or a special economic zone unit or a taxable territory not being an intra-state supply are not covered elsewhere in the section shall be treated as supply of goods or service or both in the course of interstate trade commerce. Analysis. The section provides as to whether the supply of goods or service shall be treated as supply in course of interstate trade or commerce. Interstate supply goods of supply of goods or services when location of the supplier and the place of the supply are in two different state or union. Location and place. Supply of goods and service imported into territory of India. Supply located in India and the place of supply is located outside India. Supplier location in India and the places supply supplies outside India. Supply to and by an SEZ developer and SEZ unit. Supply in a taxable territory not being intra-state supply not being specified anywhere. Supply of goods in the course of interstate trade commerce of section 712. It's primarily cover two types of supply: supply of goods within India and supply of goods imported into India. The two categories of supplies are discussed therein. Supply within India. Supply of goods shall be considered as supply of goods in course and interstate trade and commerce in the following cases: location of the supplier and place of the supply. And second thing, two different state or two different union territory or state and union territory. Location of supplier provider and the place of supply. The above concept can be easily understood with the help of the following example. Each of the following cases, supplies of goods shall be treated as a supply of goods and the course of interstate trade or commerce. Location of the supplier and place of supply. Punjab, Haryana. Punjab to Daman and Diu, and Daman and Diu to Chhattisgarh. In this supply Haryana. Supply from outside India. Supply of goods imported into territory of India till the crosses the customs frontier of India shall be considered supply of goods in the course of supply of goods in the course of interstate trade or commerce. Import of goods means bringing goods into India from place outside India. This import shall be deemed as interstate supply, and accordingly IGST will be levied on the imported goods in addition to the applicable custom duty. Supplies of services in the course of interstate trade and commerce. Section 7374. The primary cover two kinds of supplies: supply of service within India and import of service into India. The two categories of supplies are discussed therein. Supplies within India. Supply of service shall be considered as supply of service in course of interstate trade or commerce in following cases: a location of the supplier, place of supply, two different state and two different union territory, state and union territory. Import of service into India. Supply of service which is imported into territory of India shall be treated as supply of service in the course or interstate trade or commerce. This the import of services has been defined under section 211 of IGST Act and supply of the service where the supplier is located outside India, the recipient located in India, and the place of supply is service in India. Therefore, aforesaid discussion it can be inferred of goods and service shall be treated as an interstate supply subject to IGST. Supply of goods or services are both in the course of interstate or commerce section 7 plus 4. Certain supplies are treated as supplies in course of interstate trade or commerce and shall equally apply to supply of goods and services and services. These have been discussed there. Supply of goods and services are both when the supply is located in India and the place of supply is outside India. Supply place of supply also, yeah. The supply service goods supplied by a supplier located in India and place of supplies outside India, interstate supply. It is important to note where then the case location of the recipient is not material to quantify supply as the course of the interstate trade or commerce. Therefore, in supply of goods or service need to be satisfied some more condition to qualify the export of goods or services. And the provision relating to the import of goods and services has been discussed in detail chapter 14 and provision relating to goods and services reading chapter 14 model 3. The supply of goods and services of both are by economic special economic development zone and special economic development. Yes, it is a geographically bound zone within India and as well as by economic laws relating to the law export and import more liberal and compared to the other for other than tax purposes. So other purposes, it is considered to be the place outside India. Any supplier made to a CZ unit developer, vice versa, or interstate suppliers. In noteworthy that the place of supply is not relevant in the case of supply to a CZ zone, unit, or developer. Further, supply of goods or services are both special economic zone developed as special economic zone unit and the zero rated supplies. Section 16 of IGST Act discussed in the chapter 14 import and export under GST. The same can be understood and will be helped in the following example. Yes, he said Uttar Pradesh is located in the CC authorization. So there is to IGST. The supply of goods or services in the taxable territory not being interstate supply not covered as it is in residual clause shall cover all the supplies in taxable territory which is either covered under the provision enumerated above term of the interstate supplies or nor or intrastate supplies. Intrastate Supply Section 8 of the IGST Act. Statutory provision Section 8 Intrastate Supply Subsection 1(8). Subject to the provision of Section 10, supply of goods where the location of the supplier and the place of supply of goods are in the same state and same union territory shall be treated as intrastate supply. Provided the following supply of goods shall not be treated as intrastate supply. Supply of goods to or by SEZ zone, special economic zone developers or special economic zone unit. The goods imported into the territory of India till they cross the customs frontier of India. This supply is made to one tourist referred under section 15. Subject to the provision of section 12, supply of services where the location of supplier and the place of supply of service are in the same state and the same unit territory shall be treated as intrastate supply. Provided that the intrastate supply of services shall not be include supply of services to or by special economic zone and developer or the special economic zone unit. Explanation 1. For the particular act where the person has established in India or any other establishment outside India, establishment in the state or union territory, or any other establishment outside India, the state or union territory. Establishment of state or union territory or any other establishment registered within the state of union territory. In such establishments shall be treated as establishments of the distinct person. Explanation to a person carrying out business through a branch or agency or a representational office in any territory shall be treated as having establishment in that territory. Analysis. The section provide as to whether the services of the goods or the service shall be treated as intrastate supply, while the supplies of the goods and service shall be treated as the interstate supplies. Section 8(1) and 8(2) of IGST Act. Supply of goods and service where the location of the supplier and the place of the supply of goods and service are in the same state and same unit territory shall be treated as intrastate supply. Such supplies are excusable to CGST and IGST. Location of the supplier and place of supply same state and same unit. The concept discussed above has been explanation by the way of following example. Location of the supplier, place of supply, whether qualifies international supply. Punjab, Punjab, yes. London, Delhi, no. Delhi to Gujarat, no. Pondicherry to Pondicherry, yes. The exclusive provision of Section 8 1 a provision of Section 8(2) of this IGST Act contains supplies of goods and services shall not be treated as intrastate supplies, even when the location of the supplier and place of supply fall within the same state and union territory. The supplies are under supply of goods and services to or by SEZ unit or SEZ developer. Supply of goods and service to by SEZ developer unit of supply to SEZ developer unit shall not be treated as intrastate supply. As already discussed in the chapter, such supply shall be treated as supply of goods of interstate trade and commerce. Supply of goods and made to the tourists referred to Section 15 of the GST Act shall not be treated as intrastate supply. Explanation of Section 15 of the tourists is supposed normally resident in India who enters India for stay and not more than 6 months for legitimate and non-immigrant purposes. George, a tourist from USA, visit India and purchase a shawl in Delhi. In this case, even though the place of supplies, location of supplies on the same state, it will be treated as interstate transaction will be exclusable to IGST. The goods imported to India, the goods imported into territory of India till they crosses the customs frontier of India and supply imports or interstate trade and commerce thus are exclusive from the definition of intrastate supply. Establishment distinct person. Establishment same unity shall be considered as establishment of distinct person where a person has establishment in India and other establishment outside India, establishment in state or union territory and other establishment outside state and union territory, establishment state or union territory and any other establishment registered within the state or union territory. Then such supply between the above establishment shall be treated as supply between establishment of distinct person. Further, the person carrying on the business through branch or agency or representation office in any territorial shall be treated to have establishment in that territory. Supplies of territorial water section of IGST Act. Statutory provision section supplies in territorial water. Nothing withstanding anything contained in the act where the location of the supplier is in the territorial water. Location of the supplier where the supply of place of supply is it in the territorial water, the place of supply shall be purpose of the act deemed to be coastal state or union territory, then the nearest point of the appropriate baseline is located. Baseline is located. Appropriate to baseline is located. Analysis the section define the location of supplier and the place of supply when the location of supply or any other supply is in territorial water. Before that, let us understand the term territorial water. The term territorial waters has not been defined in the GST law. However, the United Nations Convention on the Law of Sea, term territorial sea is belt of coastal seas extend up to 12 nautical miles from the baseline of the coastal sea. Section 3(2) of Territorial Water, Continental Shelf, Exclusive Economic Zone, Other Maritime Zone Act 1976 stipulate that limit of territorial water is a line every point which is a distinct 12 nautical miles from the nearest point of the appropriate baseline. Refer to the Pictionary diagram showing territorial water given page 3.6 earlier in this chapter. Section 9 of IGST Act provide that where the location of a supplier is in the territorial water, it shall be deemed to be location of that supplier or in the coastal side of a union territory where the nearest point of the appropriate baseline is located. Similarly, in the case where the place of supply in the territorial water, the place of supply shall be deemed to be coastal state or union territory where the nearest point of the appropriate baseline is located. Let us recap recapitulate अर्थम. The place of supply of goods other than import or export. Section 10 serial number nature of supply place of supply. When the supply involves movement of goods whether by supply or supplies or recipient by way of other person, location of the goods at time of which movement of goods determines the delivery to the recipient, or the goods are delivered to a recipient or any other person on the direction of the third party by a transfer of title, principal place of business such a third person, where the is a no movement of goods either by supplier or recipient. Location of the goods at time delivery of the recipient. Where the goods are assembled and installed on the site, where the place goods is assembled and installed. Where the goods are supplied on board and convenience like vessels, aircraft, train and motor. Place where the goods are taken on board the conveyance. Where the supply of place of supply of goods cannot be determined in terms of above provision. Determined in the prescribed manner. Price of supply of goods imported into or exported from India, Section 11. Serial number, nature of supply of goods and place of supply, import, location of importer, export, location outside India, place of supply of location of outside India, place of supply, place of supply of services where location and supplier and recipient in India, Section 12. In the respect of Section 12, categories of servants services, the place of supply is determined with reference to the proxies. The rest of the services are governed by the default provision. Serial number, nature of service, and place of services. Involved property related services include accommodation, hotel, boat, and vessel. Location in which immovable property or boat or vessel is located and intended to be located. If located outside India, location of the recipient. If the immovable property or boat or vessel is located in more than one state, each such state is proportionate to the value of service provided in each state. Refer to point 2. Restaurant and catering service, personal grooming, fitness and beauty treatment, and health services. Location where the service is actually performed. Training and performance appraisal, B2B, B2C. Location of such a registered person, B2C. Location where service are actually performed. Admission to the event of the amusement park, place where the event is actually held and where the park or the other places is located. Organization of event including ancillary service and assigning of sponsorship to such event. B2B, location of such registered person. B2C, location of where the event actually held. If the event is held outside India, location of the recipient. If the event is held in more than one state, in case of unregistered person in such state is proportionate to the value of service provided in each state. Refer to point 3. The transportation of goods including mails and courier. B2B, location of such an unregistered person. B2C, location of which has goods are handed over to their for their transportation. Passenger transportation, B2B, location of the registered person. B2C, place where the passenger embarks on the conveyance of the continuous journey. Service on board of conveyance, location of the first scheduled point of departure of the conveyance for journey. Banking and other financial services including stockbroking. Location of the recipient of service of the records of the supplier. Location of the supplier and services located in the recipient of the services not available. Insurance services. B2B, location of the registered person. B2C, location of the recipient of services in the record of the supplier. Advertisement services to government. Each of the state, union, territory where the advertisement is broadcasted and displayed and running designated. Proportionate value is case of multiple states refer to point 5. 4 below. Telecommunication service involves fixed line leased or internet lease circuits and disk antenna. Location of the fixed equipment. Postpaid mobile internet services. Location of the billing address of the recipient. The same is not available. Location of the supplier. The prepaid mobile internet DTH service provided through the selling agent. Reseller distinguish the addresses of such a selling agent. Reseller distributor of the record of suppliers at the time of supply or any other person to the final subscriber. Location of the prepayment, the receipt or received of the payment, place of the sale of voucher. and the payment made through electronic mode through location of the recipient is a record of supplier. Other cases, address of the recipient or records of the supplier, and if the same is not available, location of supplier. If the list is secured is installed in more than one state, in each state proportionate to the value of service rendered in each state, refer to clause 5. The main manner of determining proportionate value of immovable property is a related service attributable to different state, union, territory, where the immovable property boating vessel is located. In the absence of the contract of agreement in this regard. Types of service relation to immovable property. Factors determine proportional value of service. Service provided by a lodging, accommodation by hotel, inn, guest house, etc. and actual services. Other than the case where the property is single property located in two or more contiguous state and union territory for both. Number of nights stayed in a property. All other services provided in relation to the immovable property, including organizing any marriage, recipe, etc. The accommodation of single property located in two or more states or any other union territory, services and auxiliary to such services. Area of immovable property lying in the any state and union territory. Service be a lodging accommodation of the hotel, boat, or vessels in the auxiliary services. Time spent by the boat or vessel of each of the state, union, territory, and dependent upon the basis of declaration made by the service provider. Manner of determining proportionate value of service. Relating to organization, event, and attributed to different states and union territories. Where the event is organization event service actually through assigning sponsorship to the event. Proportionate value of such service to be computed by the application generally accepted accounting principle. Manner of determining proportional value of the advertisement service attribute to different states, union territory, where the advertisement is broadcast and run, played, disseminated in the absence of the contact or agreement to its regard. Serial number, type of advertisement, proportionate value of service. Advertisement in newspaper and publication. Amount payable for publication can be advertised in all the edition of the newspaper and publication which is published in each state, union, territory. Advertised through printed material like pamphlets, leaflets, diaries, calendars, t-shirts, etc. Amount payable from the distributor of specific number of such materials in the each state, union, territory. Advertisement in the hoarding other on the stream. The amount payable for the boarding located in each state and union territory. Advertisement on train. The amount attributed to each state, union territory calculated in the ratio of length of the railway track in each of the state and union territory for the train. Advertisement on the back of utility. Back of utility bills of oil and gas companies. Amount payable of each state, union, territory for the advertisement on the bills pertaining to the consumers having billing addresses each of the state and union territory. Advertisement on railway ticket. Amount attributable to each state and union territory calculate the ratio of the number of railway tickets each of the state and union territory sold. Advertisement on ratio radio station. Amount payable to such radio station which virtue of the name is part of each state and secure union territory. Advertisement on telecommunication television channels. Amount attributable to each state and union territory calculated on the basis of the viewership of such channel in each state and union territory. Viewership figures of the last week of quarter is published by PARC, which is used for calculating the viewership of the succeeding quarter. The figures pertaining to the more than one state and union territory are appropriately ratio of the based on the population of this state and union territory as per the latest census. Advertisement in cinema halls. The amount payable by the cinema halls or screens to the multiplex or each state and union territory. Advertisement on the internet. It is deemed to be such a services in the server provided over India. Amount attributable to each state and union territory calculated on the basis of the internet subscribers in each of the state and union territory. Internet subscriber figures for the last quarter of given financial year published by the TRAI as they being used for calculating of subscribers for the succeeding financial year. Figures pertaining to more than one state or union territory are proportionate to the ratio of the population of this state union territory as per the latest census. Advertisement through SMS. The amount attributable to each state union territory calculated appointed on the basis of the telecom subscribers in each of the state and union territory. The telecom subscriber figures in the telecom circle for a given quarter as published by Troy can be used for calculating the subscribers for the successful quarters. Figures pertaining to the telecom circle computer comprising of more than one state and union territory has approximate to the ratio of the population of the state and union territory as per the latest census. A manner of determining a proportionate value services relating to the installation of the lease circuit appropriate to different state union territory where the circuit is installed. In absence of contract or agreement in this regard, installation of lease circuit proportionate value of such services computed on the basis of number of points lying in the state and union territory. Then for the circuit between 2 point place, the starting point and place of circuit and the ending point place of circuit constitute 2 points. Intermediate points place of circuit constitute a point if a benefit of the lease circuit is also available to that intermediate point. It is the rest of the service and other than those specific above. The default provision has been prescribed as under default provision of services other than section 12 specified services. Serial number, description, supply and pay services. B2B location of the registered person. B2C where addresses or recorded access location of the recipient other than the location of the supplier of the services. Place or supply of services where the location of the supplier or location of recipient is outside India. Section 13. In respect of the following category of service, the place of supply is determined in reference to proxies. Rest of services are governed by the default provisions. Serial number, nature of services and place of supply. Service supplied in respect of goods which are required to be made physically available. Place of supply, location where a service are actually performed. Services are supplied in the respect of goods but from one routine location to by way of electronic means. The location where the goods are supplied at the time of supply of service. Above provisions are not applicable in the case of goods that are temporarily imported into India for repair or treatment of any other process and exported after such repair and treatment of any other process without being put to any other use in India. Services are required a physical presence of the recipient of a person acting on behalf of the supplier service. Location where the service are actually performed. Service or supplied directly in relation to the immovable property inclusion accommodation in hotel, board and vessel. Place where the immovable property is located or intended to be located. Admission to an organization or even place where the event or organization takes place. And to above services supplied to more than one location, goods are individual related, immovable property related, event related, and more than one location, including location in the taxable territory. Location in the taxable territory in more than one state. Each such state is proportionate to the value of services provided in each state. Refer to the point 2. The services supplied by a bank and company or financial institution or NBFC to account holder or intermediate service. A service consisting of hiring a means of transport including yachts but excluding aircraft or vessels up to the period of 1 month. The location of the supplier of services. Passenger transportation and the place where the passenger embarks and conveyance of the continuous supply. Service provided on-board conveyance for scheduled point of departure of that conveyance for the journey. Online information and database access and retrieval services. Location of the recipient of the services. Manner of determining proportion value of service in relation to section 1 was section 1 goods and individual immovable property admission to organization to event attributable to different state union territory where such services are supplied in the absence of the contract or agreement to regard case manner of computation of appropriate value of services relating to goods and goods and individual service supplied on same goods equally divide the value of services to each state and union territory where service supplied on different goods considering the ratio of the invoice value of goods in each state or union territory in which state performed as the ratio of the value of service performed of such state and union territory. A service supplied to individuals is actually generally accepted accounting principle. Service directly relating to impersonal property. In the same manner as appropriate determine the proportionate value of services proportionate in the relation to the immovable property under the sub-service section 12.3. services related to the admission to organization of the event in the same manner as it applicable for the determination of proportionate value of service provided in relation to the organization of the event under section 12(7). For the rest of the services other than those specified above, the default provision has been prescribed as the master standard. Default provision of the cross-border supply of a service other than 9 specified services as described in any place of supply, location of the recipient of service, location of the supplier of service if the location of recipient is not available in ordinary course of business, place of supply of service modified under section 13 subclass 13, section service notified, place of supply, specific research development services relation to pharmaceutical sector supplied by a person located in taxable territory to a person located in non-taxable territory, location of an recipient of services is subject to fulfillment of specified conditions. B2B maintenance, repair and overhaul services of aircraft engine component parts, location of recipient of service. B2B MCRO services of ships and other vessels, other engines and other components, location of recipient of service. Exemption from GST. Section numbers clarify the chapter pertains to GST Act 2017, whereas specified example illustration questions and answer chapter based on the portion of GST laws existing 30th February 2017. After studying this chapter, you will be able to describe the power of the government to grant exemptions. GST provide overview of the goods exempt from GST, identify analyze the various services exempt from GST. Introduction. When the supply of goods or service falls in the purview of charging sections and the supply is chargeable to GST, however, determine the liability to pay that one need to further check whether the supply of goods or service exempt from tax. Exempted supply is further supply of goods or service both which attract nil rated tax and which may be wholly exempt from tax, including non-taxable supply. The non-taxable supply means supply of goods and service of both which is non-liable tax under the CGST Act, under IGST Act, thus under the GST, and supply is not liable tax and also include within the purview of exempted supplies. Supplies are not liable tax on alcoholic liquors or human consumption specific petroleum products, namely petroleum, crude, high-speed diesels, motor spirit, common house petrol, natural gas, and aviation turbine fuel. Power to grant exemption from GST is be granted under Section 11 of CGST Act and via Section 6 of the IGST Act. Section GST laws contain identical under GST essential goods and services that as publicly consumed products and services have been exempted. The items may be unpacked foods like grains, milk, eggs, curds, lassi, fresh vegetables among these items exempt from the GST. Further, essential services of healthcare services, education services and others may be exempted. It is important to note that exemption of the GST may be provided by any of the following manner. Exempt to specified activities of transaction. Sometimes exemptions are provided with respect of the specified activities or transaction. Consequently, status of the supplier in the recipient of the activities or transaction became immaterial. Service by way of transfer of going concern, the whole of independent part of therefore. Service by way of loading, unloading, packing, storing, and warehouse of rice. Exemption of specific supplier. At times, exemption is given to specific supplier only. A statute of recipient of activities or transaction became immaterial. A service provided by a central government, state government, union territory, local authority where the concentration of such services don't exceed 5,000 is exempted. Service by of an entity under Section 12A and 12B of Income Tax Act by any charitable institution is exempted. Exemption to specific recipient. In the case, exemption provided to specific recipient only. Here, the status of supplier to activities of transaction becomes immaterial. The service provided by central government, state government, union territory under the insurance scheme for which total premium paid by central government, state government, union territory exempted. The service provided to central government, state government, union territory administration, any other training program for which 75% or more of the total expenditure is borne by the central government, state government, union territory exempted. The exemption in specific supplier or specific recipient. Sometimes exemption is given only to the activities or transactions or carried out by specific supplier or specific recipient only. The section by the employee state insurance corporation to person governed under the employee state insurance section 140 1940 is exempted. Service by National Pension Scheme (NPS) Trust to the members against a coordination consideration form of admission fees exempted. In the chapter, we will discuss the power to grant exemption under the tax under GST and IGST. A list of the service exempt from CGST is detailed and overview of the goods exempt from tax. Power to grant exemption from the tax section level of CGST and section 6 of the IGST. Statutory provision. Section 11. Power to grant exemption from tax. Subsection particular. Where a government is satisfied that it is necessary for the public interest to do so, it may recommend by the council by notification exempt generally, either absolutely or subject to such condition as may be notified, specified therein goods or services both of any specified description from the whole or part of the tax levied therein, the effect from such date as may be specified in the such notification. Where a government is satisfied that necessary in the public interest to do so, as there may be recommendation of the council by an special order in the case, and under the circumstances special or nature to be stated in the order, exempt from the payment of the tax and any goods and service of the both or which taxes are leviable. The government by a considering necessary exemption to do the purpose of classifying the scope of applicability of an notification issued in the subsection 1 or order issued by way of subsection 2. Insert explanation of such notification order as the case may be. Notification as the time within 1 year of issue of notification. Notification subsection 1 or other than subsection 2 of a explanation shall ask effect as it had been part of the first of the notification order, as the case may be. Explanation. For the purpose of the section, when exemption in respect of such goods and service of both of the whole or a part of the leviable, therefore then the granted absolute registered person supplies such goods and services or both shall not collect tax excess of the effective rate of such supply of goods and services. Analysis. Exempted from payment of tax. GST law empowers central government, state government, as the case may be, grant exemption from tax. The exemption is granted on the recommendation of GST Council. Exemption can be from whole part tax or a part of tax. Exemption whole or a tax or a part of tax, it should be granted in public interest. The exemption can be granted for a notification or by special order. Exemption can be granted by goods and service both by specific description by way of issuance of notification, either absolute or unconditional exemption. Exemption on is not subject to any other condition or condition. The exemption is subject to specific condition. The exemption may be granted by special order as the case may be circumstantial exemption nature. Absolute unconditional exemption mandatory nature, where the subject supply of goods or service on both is unconditional exempted for the whole of tax. A registered person does not have option to collect the pay tax or such supply of goods or service of both, where the supply of goods or service are both unconditional exempt from the part of tax. Unconditional exemption is mandatory. Conditional exemption is optional. Registered person does not have an option to collect or pay tax in excess of the effective date such supplies of goods or service of both. However, the whether exemption is condition. Registered person does not have option to collect or pay tax in excess of the effective date on a supply of goods or service of both. However, the exemption is conditional at the option of the registered person whether it's availed the same or not. The above provision has been explained by way of diagram. The government may generally exempt the supply of goods or service in any specific description on a recommendation of GST Council by notification, either absolute or subject to such condition as may be received in notification. Partly, as the effect of the said date may be notified in the notification. Government may exempt the goods or service or which tax is levied for payment of tax by special order or a recommendation of the GST Council under the circumstances of the exemption nature to be stated under order in the public interest. The explanation interested within 1 year the purpose of clarifying the scope and applicability of the notification or order have been retrospective effect. However, the government feels that where the need to clarify scope or applicability of notification order issued under the section, it can be issued the explanation within 1 year of the issue of said notification or order. Such explanation shall have effect as if the when the notification order is issued or explanation so inserted would be effect retrospectively. It's been clearly clarified. Explanation so inserted for the particular entry's notification effective from the insertion on entity notification and not from the date of which notification had been inserted, said the explanation being effective. Now, Principal Notification 11/2017. That is the 28th June 2017 come to force of 1st June 2017 whereby new entry section 3 inserted in 21/9 2017. Subsequently, expansion is inserted in the respect of the entry 36 issue of the notification 26/7/2018 within 1 year from the insertion of the 3/7. The effective date mentioned in the notification which is inserted an explanation of 27/7/2018. Explanation will be effective from the inception of section entry 3 CX of the notification 21/9/2017 or 20 or not 27/7/2018. Similar provision granting power to exempt GST has been provided under the Rule 6 of IGST. Circular 120/39/2018 GST 11th October 2019. Goods exempt from tax. Do you know the regular public consumption products like milk, salt, eggs, curds, and packed grains are exempt from GST? A list of which is notified in the GST section 11 GST Act of the items has been exempted the whole of the tax. Under the GST, everyday items under the common man have been included in the list of exempted items. Items are unbranded atta, maida, based in unpacked food grains, milk, egg, curd, lacy, fresh vegetables among the item exempted from GST. Some of the examples of the goods exempted from GST are described therein. Notification notify the rate of tax and service. Goods go to the complete list of goods in GST website. For a live fish, fresh milk, potato, grapes, Indian national flag, plastic bags exempted. List of service exempt from GST. Specified service exempt from GST and IGST. Notification number 12/17 central tax rate. Therefore, unless otherwise notified, as exempted from various services wholly from CGST from the entries of the exempted notification and discussed below. Services are related to charitable and religious activity. See the entry number, the description of the services. Service by of entity registered under section 12A and 12AB of the Income Tax Act by a charitable activity. Exempted from IGST being granted various services notified 9/2017 and 28/6/2017. All the services exempt from CGST, SGST, SGST has been exempt from GST. Apart from this, there are few additional services which may be exempted only under the IGST law. Now, the service has been discussed in subsequent chapter. Number entry mentioned the corresponding entries of the notification 12/17 dated 28/6/2017. However, this entry number has been given only in reference to purpose or not relevant to examination purpose. Service by a service person by way of conduct of any religious ceremony exempted ending precinct of religious place meant by general public owned managed by entity registered under charitable religious trust section 12A 12AB Income Tax Act and trust institution registered under section 1023C of the Income Tax Act and body authority covered under the section 1023BB of the Act. However, the nothing contained anything is exempted shall have been renting of rooms charged 10,000 more. This is not exempted. Renting of premises, community halls, Kalyana Mandapam, open area which is charging more than 10,000 per day is not exempted. Renting of shops and any other business place, commerce which is charging more than 10,000 per month is not exempted. Surveys of a specified organization respect of religious pilgrim facilities by the Government of India under the bilateral arrangement exempted. Service by of training and coaching in the recreational activities relation to art, culture by individual, sports or charitable entity registrations in 12A and OBB income tax at 1916 exempted. Analysis service provided by the charitable religious trust. Entry 1 of the notification exempted service applied by an entity registered under section 12A 12AB of Income Tax Act 1961 by a charitable activity. This is in order to claim exemption under the entry 1 of notification following two conditions that is with the entry shall be registered under section 12A 12AB of Income Tax Act 1961. The entity must carry out one or more specific charitable activities before proceeding to further. Further, first understand the meaning of charitable activities. Term charitable activities mean the activities related to public health by of care and counseling or terminal ill persons so severe physical mental disability, person affected with HIV/AIDS, person addicted to dependency forms, substance or narcotic drugs, alcohol, or public awareness and prevention of health, family planning and prevention of HIV, advancement of religion, spiritual yoga, advancement of education program, skill development relation to abandoned and orphaned homeless children, physical and mental abuse, traumatized person, a prisoners, a person over the age of 65 resident in rural areas, prevention of environment. including watershed, forest, wildlife. They are only the service provided by charitable religious trust or trust or registered under Section 12E of income tax with the fall within the above definition of charitable activities and eligible for exemption for GST. There would be many other services provided by the charitable trust which is not covered under the definition of charitable activity. Hence, such service would be not attract GST. For instance, the grant of advertising rights to a person for publicity for the permissions of the charitable trust and the publicity of the trust or granting admission of the event or a function of celebrating shows against admission of the tickets are free which attracts GST. For the following parts, which is examined the case of services supplied by the entities registered under Section 12G and 12AB of Income Tax Act. Management of education institution, charitable trust, activities of schools, colleges, any other education institution run by the charitable trust by way of education, skill development of abandoned, orphaned, homeless children, physically, mentally abused persons, prisoners or person over 65 years above resident in rural areas will be considered as charitable activity of income from the such supplies will be wholly exempt from GST. Term rural area means a area comprised of rural village defined in land or revenue records excluding the area under the municipal committee, municipal corporation or town area committee and cantonment board or notified area committee or any other than being notified in the urban area by the central government or state government. Shiksha Academy Education Institution by Sharvak Shiva Trust and Charitable Trust registered as APF Income Tax Act is a skill development program for old age people over the people of 65 residing in the Bangalore city urban area. The service provided by the Shiksha Academy may not fall in the few preview of charitable activities. Activity relating to the advancement of skill and development relating to service over 65 years are covered under the definition of charitable activities. Only the person residing in the rural area. Activities of school, college, and institution run by the trust which do not comes into the ambit of charitable activities will not be exempt under the entry 1. However, such activities may be exempt under Section 66 discuss the entire chapter. Provided schools, college, and institution qualifies as education institution. Hostel accommodation provided by trust. Hostel accommodation service provided by trust to students does not fall within the ambit of charitable activities are defined above. Religious yatra, pilgrim organized by the charitable or not exempt.